¿Qué tal amigos? Les habla Obi de Eleva. El día de hoy es un día súper especial. Tenemos aquí en el estudio al alcalde de Russellville, Mayor Fred Teague. Así que el día de hoy estén atentos. Si tienen preguntas, pónganlos en los comentarios y vamos a hacer lo más posible de contestarle sus preguntas. Así que voy a estar en inglés y en español el día de hoy. Así que disculpen si no entienden o si pueden dar una traducción o si no entendieron algo, ustedes saben que pueden preguntar, mandar mensaje y se lo podemos aclarar. Así que what I just said was today we have Mayor Fred Teague here in the studios. It's a privilege to have him here today. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them on the comments and we'll be looking for any questions out there and we will try to answer them as best as possible. So with that being said, welcome today to Eleva, Mayor. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity to come visit with you, man. I've been wanting to do this. You talked about it a while back, and I'm super stoked about being here. It's exciting.
Well, for me, it's a bucket list. I've never had or interviewed a mayor before,
No.
and so it's exciting. And when we started a year ago, December last year, that was one of the first things in my mind. I wanted to interview the mayor. And the reason is because the first time I found out about you or knew who you were, you came to our doorstep and you were giving out postcards. Hey, I would like to get your vote. I didn't vote for you because I was new in town.
Yeah.
I'm still in that process of changing things, but you were sweaty. It was a hot day, and I was like, wow, like he's out here grinding. And when I closed the door, I was like, he's gonna be the mayor. And then,
Well, I appreciate that vote of confidence. So yeah. So hopefully this won't disappoint.
Yeah. But thanks for being here. For
Oh,
me,
man, I'm honored,
It's a great privilege. Maybe I'm not showing it, but I'm like,
No,
jumping
dude.
inside.
It's an honor for me to be able to be here. I'm excited. So.
Yeah. So I mean, let's go straight into it. Who is Mayor Fred Teague? Maybe we'll get into what you're doing now and the duties and everything. But I mean, were you born here in town or out of town? Like,
Actually, I was born in Little Rock, Arkansas, a long, long time ago. And when I was a child, we moved around quite a bit. So I've lived in Arizona, California. I actually have a Social Security number out of California when I was younger. And then we moved back to Little Rock and then moved to a little town called Benton right outside of Little Rock. And then we moved, my family moved, my mom and my sister and I moved here in 1976. I was in first grade. And so been here ever since, with the exception of about 2.5 years after I got married. My wife and I moved to Northwest Arkansas, where she was from, for a couple years. But other than that, we've been here.
your whole life.
Yes. Yeah. This is it's where I call home. I started first grade here. A buddy of mine, Jeremy Keister, says Russellville's a great place to grow up and a great place to grow old. It really is. It is really, it is home to me. It's home to, that's the reason my wife and I moved back from Northwest Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas has so much amazing things, and we're grateful for them in the state of Arkansas. But this is home. It really is. We love Russellville. We love, we're so blessed to be located in the right in the middle of lakes, rivers, mountains, streams, everything you can imagine. I think a lot of times people who live here take for granted what we have, but I ride motorcycles. I like to ride motorcycles. And so we travel all over the United States riding motorcycles. But, man, there are people that travel to Arkansas just to ride our roads from all over the United States. So it's really cool. We have so much. We have, a world-class lake out here at Lake Dardanelle for fishing. And, our camping is amazing. Our bike trails are awesome. It's just we're blessed, man. And I've always felt that way.
Yeah, we are. I was talking to my wife about it because hiking came up a few days ago. And I was like, babe, like we have good hikes here and everything. We should start, like you said, people take it for granted, and I'm like, I don't want to just live here and all this neat stuff is in our backyards.
Oh yeah, we've got Mount Nebo right in our backyard. We've got Petit Jean, you got Magazine, and that's just 3 that are right close to us. And there's so many things. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it is. And what's the difference between Russellville then and now?
Wow, gosh, because that's
you mentioned 70s, 80s,
Yeah, that's almost 50 years ago. When I first moved here, you see things a lot different as a child. There was not a lot like when there's a place. I think it's called Price Break now. It's a small store in Russellville, and that was the original Walmart when I grew up, and so. Then Walmart left there, and then they moved to where Hobby Lobby was, and then they moved to their new location. So, where you see Hobby Lobby now, man, that was way out of town. That was that was way out of town. So, you see people talking about, man, I've lived here all my life and Russellville's never changed. Well, man, we've changed a lot. We really have. We've grown a lot. We haven't seen like an exponential growth like Conway or Bentonville or anything like that, but we've seen slow and steady growth, not only just in population, but in the things that we have. That's evidenced by right now under construction. You have a new Hardee's, a Chipotle, a Panda Express just opened. You've got Aldi's that's coming. You got Olive Garden. You've got Academy Sports. Buffalo Wild Wings just opened back up. So lots of amazing things are happening. Starbucks is opening up a new store out by Arkansas Tech. Yeah. So there's lots of things, and so it really has changed. I look back when I was a kid, though, and used to ride my bicycle all over the place because that's what you did back then. You rode your bicycle. That's all you had. And so, but there's a lot more to do, but always, it's just like the people in Conway. Yeah. Say there's nothing to do in Conway, they got to go to Little Rock. The people in Little Rock, there's nothing to do here, I got to go to Memphis or Dallas. Yeah. And so you're always going to take for granted what's in your own backyard. But man, we've got some great places to visit, to shop, and to eat. I don't know. It's changed a lot to me. I love it. Like I say, my wife and I chose to come back because we really did not want the rat race of Northwest Arkansas. Nothing against Northwest Arkansas. It's a great place. We love to visit it. But, man, we just kind of wanted to raise our kids here in a slower pace. And, both my kids graduated Russellville High School. Both my kids graduated Arkansas Tech University, which Arkansas Tech University is an absolute amazing asset for the city of Russellville.
Yeah, it is. It is. The same thing with us. I mean, I have my young family, and we were looking for peace, tranquility, family-oriented area. And I believe we found it, and we're happy. Like I mean, I'm one of those guys that kind of go into things slow. I take my time, and recently I've been like, this is home, this is home, and I'm like, we're really happy. So this was probably years ago when you guys moved back.
Yeah, we moved back, and we've been here since 1994. So so 30 years ago is when we moved back here. And so, like I say, we're not perfect, man. We're not perfect at all. But man, gosh, we have so much good stuff. And I know you're good friends with Stacey Daughtry and Mayor Jimmy Witt. And the beautiful thing is we're the Arkansas River Valley. It's not Russellville, it's not Darnell, it's not Pottsville, Adkins, Hector, London, whatever. It's the Arkansas River Valley. So there's just kind of like this collective group of people that call this area home, and it really is. It's really a neat place, and to have great neighbors right across the river. Because Stacy is, gosh, and I know you love her as much as I do. She's so community oriented. Mayor Witt and his family is there's nobody that's more Yale County and Dardanelle than the Witt family. They just really they exude what Yale County and Dardanelle stand for. It's just really cool.
Yeah, and it's good to see that, like that collaboration, of not just now but the future, and setting things up for others to enjoy.
Yes.
So I really I love that. It's like I've never really been so close to what's happening in the city or whatnot, and just meeting the people behind the ideas and the direction that the cities are going. Like, it's just great to see, because you feel like, man, we're in good hands.
Yeah. Well, I hope we are. Like I said, we've got, to me, I don't think I've ever seen, I've been here, like I say, I moved here in 1976, moved away for a couple years and moved back since 1994. But I don't remember ever seeing as strong of a core of leadership across the community. There's so much, you've got a great council. You got Judge Ben Cross at County Judge. You got Christy Graham at Tourism and Visitor Center. You got Dr. Megan Selman at the Chamber of Commerce with her whole host and a team that's over there. You've got Dr. Russ Jones that just became the new president at Arkansas Tech University. Really, honestly, a great group of people. And then you even look national, state, you've got Senator Breanne Davis, Representative Duffield, and Aaron Pilkington, which has a small part of the Russellville area. Then you've got Senator Bozeman, Representative Westerman, and Senator Cotton, and there's just so many There's some I missed, but man, we from here, and then Governor Sanders is great too. So we have so much great leadership. I always say I've been gifted. It is a gift to be mayor right now.
Yeah.
I've been gifted this time, and so I got to make the most of it.
Yeah, and you are. And now, did you ever picture yourself being the mayor?
Oh gosh, no, man.
Like, was that like one day I'm going to be the mayor?
No, and if you would ask me 3 years ago, I would have never pictured myself being mayor. It was just I never had any comprehension. And, you and I had a little bit of conversation. I grew up in a very, very low socioeconomic family. I always tell people there's a difference between broke and poor. Broke is a state of finances, and poor is a state of mind. So I've never been poor, but we were broke. We grew up on food stamps. I grew up with a single mom that worked and did everything she could possibly do to help me and my sister. And so, but it was not easy. And a lot of times, when I talked about traveling around and living in different places, it was because we had to stay with family because my mom was a single mom, and just being able to stay close to family that could help us. And so, never in a million years did I look back in any of my years of school and go, man, I want to be mayor. No, or and I'm probably the least political person in the world. Mm-hmm. I'm not very political, and I'm a businessman. I've been a small business owner for most of my adult life, and so that's who I am. I don't play the political game very well. I'm just straightforward. I'm honest. I'm gonna tell you, if I tell you something, I'm gonna do my best to do it. I'm not gonna tell you something just to make you feel good.
Yeah.
But at the core, I think I've always loved serving people, and I think that's it. I'm a servant, and I think that's where I attack the mayor as being a servant. I do the same thing. A group of us founded Rust Bus 12 years ago, and through that last 12 years, I've served the community, and so I just serve it in a different capacity from the mayor's office.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I mean, I've seen you everywhere. Mm-hmm. What, for example, what makes you detach yourself of, this is the role of a mayor. Like, this is what a mayor should be. Mm-hmm. And how do you differentiate yourselves from, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a mayor doesn't do this. We only do this or that.
Oh.
It's like, for example, I've been driving down the road and you're picking up trash bags.
Yeah. So, Well, and I am who I am. That's the thing and I don't know that I have this view of who the mayor is. Yeah. To me, I'm the least important person in this community, and I genuinely believe that. I'm here to serve everyone in this community, whether that means I need to, get out of the checkout line faster so the person behind me can, because I'm always thinking about, man, I'm the guy that I'm here to serve them and make their world better. So, and to me, a mayor is a public servant. You genuinely are. And so whether that means cleaning up trash or whether that means running a chainsaw during a storm with Public Works or cleaning out a ditch because it's flooding or whatever that means, serving is what I'm going to do. And I know that looks a little bit weird to some people, but I'm not going to change who I am.
What is he doing? Do somebody else's job or what? Right? Like,
do what?
No, somebody might be able to say, like, what is he doing over there?
Yeah,
He's not supposed to do that.
Well, but one of the things is I believe in servant leadership. I tell people that authority can either be appointed, hired, or elected. But influence is earned, and so if you gain influence in someone's life, they're going to work hard for you. And so if I go out, I've gone out and picked up trash in the parks. I've cleaned bathrooms in the parks. I've done those things, but it's just because the guys know I will be there if you need me to be there, no matter what it looks like. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. Yeah. The only thing I can't do is I can't be a police officer or a fireman because they're trained. I mean, or a paramedic. They're trained to do that. I would do anything in the world for those guys, but I can't do their job because they're professionally trained. So but other than that, if I have the capacity to do something, I'm going to do that. And if it's cleaning up the trash or if it's blowing the streets or whatever, I'm going to do it. So if they need me to help them.
That's great. That's great. Hey, Michael, is there any questions out there you've seen maybe?
Jonathan has just said hello, and he did agree that there are lots of great people.
Okay. Well, Jonathan had this question. I mentioned that you were going to be here today. So he was like, who was Mayor Teague at age 15?
Ooh, Jonathan, you are throwing me under the bus here, Jonathan. Because Mayor Teague, and I was sharing earlier, I don't ever back off or not share my story because an unashamed voice speaks hope. It really does. And so, because there may be a 15-year-old that watches this maybe today or maybe 3 years or whatever. Man, at age 15, I was in a rough way. My mother's third husband had died when I was 10 years old, and so I was in between, didn't have a stepdad at the time. I was being raised by a single mom, and I was a very troubled teen. I had already, at age 15, I'd already started drugs and alcohol. I was pretty much not controllable. My mom didn't have very much control over me. It probably got a little bit worse after 15. Now, at 15 also, I had a motorcycle accident when I was 15 that caused me to be in a wheelchair for 3 months. I had a motorcycle accident and was in a wheelchair for 3 months. Had to learn to walk again and all that. So that was kind of a pivotal role in my life because it still to this day I'm partially disabled because of that accident. But I still, like I say, I was a very troubled teen. Had lots of problems. Never in a million years, I didn't have any idea what my life was going to look like. I was not being a good student in school. I was not, didn't have good attendance, didn't have good, it was just a troubled teen for sure. And, but there were some people that, believed in me in those years after. There's two really influential teachers in my life, that believed in me in my high school years, a lady named Paula Jones and a lady named Debbie Franks, who are just really key in my life to just believing in me. And there's lots of people that got involved. I was lucky early on, even at that age, I was lucky enough to learn. Even though I was not doing right, I was lucky enough to learn what not to do and what to do from people. So I've always been a student of life. So like if I watched you, I'd say, man, Jonathan's, Obi's doing this. Jonathan, you were answering the question. I would say, hey, he's doing this. I don't like that. I don't need to do that. Or he's doing this. I need to be like that. So I've always been a student. So even at 15, I was a student of life watching those things. But I was definitely a misguided youth. And probably really honestly, the catalyst, when I was 21, I met my wife. We've been married 33 years now. And, she changed my life. She probably, we got married, once again, I'd tell the same story with her sitting here. We probably wouldn't be married today had we not had a son my first year of marriage. My son is literally the glue that kept us together. But then there was a period of time, that he kept us together. Then God got involved in our life. I surrendered to the call of God. My wife came to know Christ. And so but there was something that needed to keep us together until that point. And so, but we've been together 34 years, married 33. So, yeah, it's just, it is a wild story looking back, and it's just, I look back and say, golly, I'm just grateful that she still puts up with me, and that, there were times that I'm sure she didn't want to put up with me, and there's probably still times she doesn't want to put up with me, and maybe today, maybe one of them, I don't know, so.
No, I'm glad to hear that, man. So at 15, and then a few years later, you just kind of decided, I'm going to change my life around. You met your wife. And
yeah, it's probably 21 when we met, and probably 22, 23 is when I really started seeking Christ in my life. I started to see. I can remember getting up out of bed in Rogers, Arkansas, and going to the couch, and I felt God was calling me. I felt God was calling me, and I was like, man, I'm in frustration. I was like, man, I'm tired of it. I don't know what to do. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. And so for a period of time there, I was seeking God. At that time, my wife was not a believer. She was as far away from a believer as you could. She wasn't a bad person, but she was definitely not in favor of Christ. And so And then she came to know Christ in, I think, 94, 95, something like that. And then we really started, getting involved. And we've been, started going to a church called Life Center back then. It's now Journey Church. And we've been there since like 1996. Wow. So we've been there, that's 28 years. That's been our church home for 28 years. And that's our family. Those are the people that we do life with. And so, that's a big part of, and even back then, I don't know, we're talking faith here, and I don't know where you stand on faith. I really, but, I had a grandmother, I always tell everybody, man, not everybody loves you like your grandmother or your mother, so my grandmother and my mother, man, I know even in all that chaos, they were praying for me. So I knew, so there was that call on my life that I was running from. And so finally, I surrendered to that, and, but it's a whole lot easier when you surrender. So, but in the same token, everybody that's out there watching, you've got to come to that point yourself. I can't lead you to that. You know what I'm saying? I can lead you to the water, but you got to drink it. And so whether you believe in it or not, that's one of those things. But I can tell you this, the last 33 years of our life, we've had good years and bad years, but man, I'm grateful that I get to wake up next to her every day.
That's great. That's great to hear that, because you guys are like, the for better or for worse.
Yes.
Statement.
Oh, I guarantee you we're the for better or for worse, man, for sure. Yeah, she's definitely, there have been good and bad, for sure. So
I can imagine. What do you think about the term, behind a great man, there's a great woman?
Oh, gosh, shoot, man. I believe that 100%. And that's what's, and my wife could answer that so much better, because so many things that I've done, she didn't necessarily sign up for, because 33 years ago and we'll both tell you this, we were just having fun, man. We were just having fun. We were dating and we were having fun. We were young and stupid and we were having fun. And then we got married. We didn't have a clue what we were doing, man. It wasn't like, like my daughter and my son-in-law, they had this plan to get married and this beautiful wedding. And man, we didn't have all of that. And so she didn't, the things that I've gone through in my life, I don't know that she saw that, like being mayor. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing for her, to be my wife and to have to go and be at events and be under the public scrutiny of the eye, because wherever you go, whether you're eating out or whether you're at the grocery store, or, somebody's going to come up and talk to you. They're going to do, how about this? How about that? And so there's never a time that, that we don't have someone talking to us. And so, that's not something 33 years ago I thought about, and she sure never thought about it, because I can tell you the guy that she was dating was never going to be mayor. And so it is, but yeah, without her, golly, she just, man, I can't say enough good about her, because she's probably I was telling somebody in one of our church groups the other day, she's probably the most loyal person I know. I'm very jealous of her friends, because as far as a friend, she is the most loyal friend you could ever have. And so she's a very, she's a wonderful woman. She is a phenomenal mother. Her relationship with our children is incredible. And now we're into the grandparent stage, and she just does a great job with my granddaughter. And so, yeah, without a doubt, I can tell you 100% I wouldn't be where I am today without her. Wow. Yeah, without a doubt. There's no way I would not be, had she not come into my life. I had, early on I had struggles with alcohol and different things. I would probably be hard pressed to say that I would be productive at all if I would be alive without her coming into my life 34 years ago.
Wow, that's great. So, wow, if she's watching.
Yeah, I don't know if she will or not, but like I say, she's incredible. She's like, she's the one that recharges my batteries. Even when your times aren't good, I don't know how long you've been married, but man, when you've been married 33 years, they're not all good. All days aren't good. All days aren't good. Sometimes all weeks or months aren't good. That's the reality of it. But even just to be the ability to lay down in the same bed and just know that she's there and wake up next to her, and she recharges my batteries. Even if we're not good, even if we're not hitting on all cylinders and our relationship isn't good, she's still that one. So it is good. So
that's great. Well, Then it is true. Behind a great man, there's a great woman.
I believe so. Well, yeah, I think it goes vice versa too. I mean, hopefully I make her better. You know, hopefully if I don't, I'm not doing the job I need to do. We should we should strive as spouses to make our spouse better.
That's great. That's great. So let me see. I'm trying to see if there are any questions out
We do
here.
have another question. How do you balance family, work, and life?
Oh man, that's a good one. And I'd love my wife to help answer this too. But I tell you, I think I do a better job now. And this is because 12 years, 10 years, because Russ Bus was founded 12 years ago. For 10 years, I was a small business owner of a couple two to three different businesses, and I was running Russ Bus. And so, not running it the whole time. There was a time when a couple ladies came on that did the day-to-day operations, but I still was actively involved in it. So that time was very stressful, especially in those early years when we were founding Russ Bus. And so probably my family sacrificed a lot more then. My daughter grew up. She played softball all over the United States. My wife, would drive her, to Georgia, to Chicago, to Oklahoma, to Texas, wherever, Alabama. And so I miss those games. There's a lot of times when my daughter, I miss those games. And, my son and I, our relationship was stressed because I was a business owner and he worked for me, and I was not a very good person at that time. And so there was a lot more stress. And so when I became one of the interesting things about becoming mayor is my stress level actually dropped when I became mayor. As everybody thought, man, you're going to be so stressed. And I didn't know what to expect, but what I did figure out after a little while is because everything that I dealt with prior to becoming mayor was a crisis. When you're helping unsheltered people or people who are homeless, they've lost their home, about to lose their home. They've lost their kids, about to lose their kids, can't pay their bills, and they're in crisis. And so I can have 16 meetings in a day now, but I'm just meeting with people who aren't in crisis.
Yeah.
So my life is not wrapped up in crisis. So probably I didn't do as good a job prior to being mayor. My wife and daughter, they and my son, they definitely sacrificed. They're the ones that paid the price. I think they understood for the most part when we were in those stages of doing those things, because they have a heart for people too. But now we do take time and we spend more time. My wife and I spend more time together. We go camping, we go motorcycle riding. We spend more time together than. So it is a priority to do that, but also it goes back to what I said a while ago. She didn't necessarily sign up to be Mrs. Mayor, but, there are things that, every weekend something, we need to be here, we need to be here, I need to do those things. And that's one of those things that I like doing. I like being in the community because I want to be available. That's one of the things, and that's why I love being here, man. I love being able to be available and people be able to ask us questions, because that's a public servant. Yeah. That's being available for someone to ask and being transparent in what we're doing. So, yes, a lot of people don't see the time that we take and the time that we spend, just my wife and I and the dog. But yeah, I am able to do that. But at the same time, and I will say this, I do better sometimes than others, and it depends on, the season. Because sometimes the season is busier than others. You have to, you do better. Just like in anything we do, I think we do better at times, and definitely not perfect, but I think we're getting better. Now, my wife may not say that. She may say, no, he's not doing a very good job. I don't know. You'd have to ask her, but I genuinely love being mayor, and I think I'm the luckiest person in the world, because, like I say, knowing where I came from, the fact that I get to be mayor of my hometown is phenomenal. And so, and I think my wife understands. First and foremost, she understands it's a call of God. I think that's where we both understand that I'm a servant. I serve, I serve Christ first, but then I serve the community. And so I think she understands that, and that makes it easier because she knows when she gets woke up in the middle of the night because of something happening and I have to get up and leave the house. She knows what I'm doing. Yeah. And so she's done that for years as I would get called out, to help someone who was unsheltered or something. But so I think, I don't know, I think the struggle, it's a family struggle. It's for all of us. All of us pay the price, but hopefully we're doing better than what we did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm answering any of these questions right or not, but I just I'm just talking. Like I say, this is just candid conversation. So.
Yeah. You said early on it was a little hectic and you were missing games or, you had little small issues with your son. What would you do different in those days?
Wow. Golly. Whew, man, I'll try not to get emotional on this one. So my son is, he's 32 years old now. I think you're 32. I don't know that he's going to watch this, but I was way too hard on my son. I pushed way too hard. And if you dads or moms are out there, man, I know you're doing the best that you think that you know how. I did the best I thought I knew how. I did, but I was way too hard. I pushed him way too hard in a lot of ways. So we still have a strained relationship, but I will say we're healthier than we've been in years. Yeah. And that I think it had something to do with me going back and writing a letter and just saying, hey, listen, man, I did wrong. I don't, but in the same token, I don't know what I did wrong because I thought I was doing the best that I knew how to do. So I think, yes. Now going back, now my daughter, and I by far, I am not a perfect dad to her either, but I mean, I think we have a little bit healthier relationship than my son and I do right now, and that's because of the strain that I put on our relationship. But there were two different things there because I was probably too hard on my son, and my daughter may totally disagree. She may watch this, and if you do disagree, you can tell me, that. I was too hard in some ways, but also I think the sacrifices that were made with her were the sacrifices that were made to help others because, when she was born in 97 and in 2012 we founded Russ Bus. And so she's 15. And so that's her teenage years. And we really just, so there were those games that I missed, but she understood why when I missed them, I was doing something that she felt like I needed to do. Or if I didn't get to travel to watch her play softball in other states, I was staying home making money so her mother could. Yeah. So those they're different, and I would love to have figured out a way that I could have been there and encouraged her. And but I think, and it's one of those things, man. I think you look back, and I always say you do the best you know until you know better, and then you got to do different. And so I look back and I think, man, I did the best that I thought I could. And there were ways I failed both my wife, I failed my wife, my daughter, my son. I failed them all. But it's just, you think at the time you're doing right, and genuinely in your heart, your intentions are good, but at the core, you were really screwing up. And so then your kids have to grow up and unpack all that crap, and and then I've got to work through it. But it's and my daughter's a mother now, so she's about to know that because she's got an idea of how she wants to raise my granddaughter, and so she'll do the best that she can, and then she's going to grow up and realize, man, I didn't do what I needed to do, even though you do everything you think. And so I don't know, it's just a cycle. And I think the biggest thing is just realizing, man, if you did wrong, go back and say, I'm sorry, I did wrong. And sometimes you're apologizing for something you don't know what you did. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the reality, because, that's the same way with marriage. In 33 years, I promise you, there's things I apologize for that I knew what I did, and then sometimes I'm like, man, I still don't understand what I did. Yeah. But I think it's going back and trying to have that relationship. And that's where, man, my wife, she has done such a great job of maintaining a great relationship with our children, and so she's kind of like that glue that really kind of holds us together. But like I say, this we were together New Year's Eve, and it was a great time. You know, all of our family, and this first year we ever got to be with my granddaughter, 6 months old. So it was a cool experience. But I would definitely change some stuff. What that looks like, I definitely wouldn't be as hard on my kids. But I don't know what that looks like either, to tell you. So
yeah, that helps because I constantly think about that. 'Cause I have a 13-year-old.
yeah, it's tough, man.
You know, and then you do the sacrifices, right? You want to go take him out to practice, but then you got to stay at work. You know,
Yeah, you want to give them everything. I want my kids to have everything. I wanted my wife to have a nice car. I want us to live in a nice home. You know, and there's two different things though too. When you look at in my mind. As a son, you know, my son, you're raising him to be a man. So you've got to train him, you know, to work and to do the things that are expected of a man. And my son I couldn't be more proud of him. He's grown up to be just an amazing individual, amazing human being. But with a daughter, you're charged to be her protector until at the wedding you say, hey, here, you know, I surrender her to you to be your wife, and now you become her chief protector. Now I will kick your butt if you hurt her, but you know what I'm saying. But in the same token, you're raising a man to be a man, that your boy to be a man, and then you're raising that daughter, and you're being her protector until at some point in time you pass that responsibility off to her husband. And you know, I may be offending some people with traditional roles here, and don't get me wrong. My daughter and my wife can definitely protect themselves, and they are both very, very strong women. And one of the best things I say about my wife is just I listen to my wife because she will keep me from doing stupid stuff. You know, my wife will follow me anywhere if she feels like it's a calling that God's got on us. But if I'm about to do something stupid, she'll speak up.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, you do. The word says submit one to another in love. So
no, that's great, man. No, thank you for answering that because it even helps me with my young kids, and I mean I have 2 daughters, so I'm getting ready for that. I think I was talking to someone about it, and I'm like, man, got to get ready for that.
Yes,
you know, their teenage years and dating maybe, and
it's coming, man. It is, my daughter, God, she married a young man that we couldn't be happier with, but. You know, when they got married, and everybody's like, "Oh, was it hard to get your daughter? You know, let her get married?" And I'm like, "Man, no. He loves God and makes my daughter smile, and that's all I need, man. You know, he loves God, makes my daughter smile, and they love each other. I tried to talk him out of it because she's so high maintenance, but no, he's a great guy, and but yeah, just couldn't be happier for him being my son. It's amazing.
That's great. That is so great, and I know that you mentioned one time, and I'm changing it up already. The role of like the Hispanic community here in Russellville, and I know that you appreciate the community and you would want to connect more. So how do you feel about the impact that the communities bring in here locally, like as far as I don't know, restaurants or whatnot?
Well. Gosh, there's so much. I mean, you looked at Jonathan, who has a great business. You know what I'm saying? You look at the restaurant community. There's a lot of look in the banking industry. Look, the Hispanic community it permeates the whole fiber of everything we do. At Arkansas Tech and in the staff and everything. So it's such a vital part of the community. We've had some conversations, and I'm like, man, help me find a way to connect, and so if you invite me somewhere, I do my best to come out and be there, but, and I want people to understand that, hey, I'm available, I don't know if you have to have a translator or not, but I want to talk to whoever. The thing is, because everyone's voice needs to be heard, everyone's voice. And at the core, I'm here to serve everyone. And, we want quality of life, quality of place for everyone, not just a particular group of people. And so what does that look like for you? I don't know. what does it look like for your family? Are we doing the right things? You know, are we spending our money, or not our money, your money, the taxpayer money, on the right things? Do we need to improve this sport, or do we need to improve this park? Do we need to, is your street taken care of that is in your neighborhood? You know, what do we need to do to help? So we have to open that dialogue. You know, we have to open that. But I understand that part of that's my responsibility, because I have to put myself in a place so that I can hear those questions and I can answer the right questions. Because if I don't ever put myself in a place to hear from those voices, we've had talked in the past that Michelle Barraza was our first Hispanic city council person. That's an amazing thing for Russellville. Now, we need someone else to step up and run in the future. Yeah. We don't have any open seats right now, but that's the responsibility of the community. Because if you want your voice heard, then you need to put yourself in a position to where your voice can be heard. You know, and so those are the important things. And just step up and go out there. You know, you talked about me knocking on doors, man. I went out and knocked on thousands of doors. You know what I'm saying? We put a bunch of signs out, but man, I went out and, when you answered the door, I probably said, hey, listen, my name's Fred Teague. I wanted you to personally hear my voice, ask you to vote for me. And that's it. I want you to see my face. I want you to hear my voice. Say, hey, listen, man, would you vote for me? Because I take this serious, and I want you to be able to do that. And I had so much fun, and, just being able to go out and visit with people. But, as far as the Hispanic community, they're doing an amazing job as far as running businesses, raising families, doing great things in our community. But if you want to be civically involved, then try to figure out a way, what does that look like? And you don't have to be on the city council to be involved. You can come be at the meetings. You can listen to what we're doing. You can voice your opinion in the proper channels, or you can go out and be part of. One of the best guys in our community is a guy named Pastor Raul, who runs Main Street Mission. My God, that man's an amazing servant of God and a servant of people, and he just is phenomenal. And so you look at all of the different people that just have really it's in every fiber. It's in every fiber of our community. And so, I think they're so important, and that's why I'm like, hey, listen, how do I engage? How do I make myself available? Because because I know it's my responsibility. Because it is your responsibility to some degree, but if you don't know that the door's open, then you're not going to go. If you feel like, man, he's not going to talk to me, he's not going to listen to me. But the way I communicate that, hey, my door's open, is you see me in the places where you're at. And if I'm in those places, then eventually you're going to come up and you're going to talk to me, and you're going to say, hey, listen, hey, what about this, or what about that? And I want people to be able to ask those questions, whatever they be. And so I don't know. That's kind of the things that we do. We do the weekly update. We do, to do the mornings with the mayor. Yeah. You actually came to one out at Arkansas Tech. Well, you've been to more than one. So I'd say it's, I don't know. I just want people to know, my message is like, hey, the mayor's office is available. I serve everyone. Yeah. So
what would be the best way for someone in the community, or let's say Hispanic, they don't know English, and how can they communicate? Can they send a message, or comment, or how
you can email. You can email, and if you type it in Spanish, we'll get it translated. You know what I'm saying? That's the reality. If you type it in Spanish, or if you want to come to City Hall, you can call City Hall and say, hey, listen, I'd like to meet with the mayor, and they'll set up an appointment. It doesn't matter who you are. Anybody gets an appointment to meet with me. And if you need a translator, just say, hey, I need a translator, and we'll get somebody to come translate. We have a couple, we have an officer, Roberto Alponte, who's our translator at PD, and we've got some other. I don't have a problem picking up the phone and calling you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I will.
Help.
I know. There's people that will help us, or Becky Beavers, who runs the River Valley Christian Clinic, who's bilingual. And so there's so many people that would be willing to help. But also, in the same token, I would say this. If you have a group, or a church group, a civic group, or a group of people that you would like me to come talk to, like you have a large gathering, say, hey, listen, man, will you come out and visit with us? And
Yeah.
so I'll be happy to come out. I'll visit with you, and there'll be somebody there to translate.
Yeah.
And I would love to just come out and hang out and just answer questions, because I want people to know that, hey, I want you to have. And that's one of the beautiful things about what you do is you get information to people, and misinformation is the worst thing that we have going in our society right now is misinformation. And so if we can get the right information to the right people, then it saves so much trouble.
It does, and it's like night and day. People, like,
Yes.
for example, you going out to a community that perhaps thought that you were not at hand's reach. How can I ever talk to them? How can I bring my concerns? But once you go there and they see you, hey, this guy is a normal person who represents us, and I can voice my concerns. It changes things dramatically. Now there's trust. Now there's like, hey, he represents us. So that's kind of like the thing we're trying to do here with Eleva, to highlight the Hispanic businesses or anyone really, and it changes things. I mean, can't explain it, but it's like actions are louder than words. Once you have that trust, people can be like, hey, well, can you call the office? Let's find out.
But
You can
also
call too,
the thing is, I understand that trust has to be earned. So, I understand just because I have the mayor on my jacket doesn't mean that you trust me. That may mean that you don't trust me. You may say, man, the authorities have treated me wrong. I don't trust the authorities. And so that's where I have to go in, and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not who you think I am. I'm just a normal guy. I get up and go to work every day just like you. My wife and I have bills just like you do. I pump gas in my car. I do, everything just like you. And so I think that's why it's important to know, and I completely understand, is like, I have to go into the community and earn the trust. I can't automatically assume that you're going to trust me.
Yeah.
I've got to earn your trust.
Yeah, that's true.
And that takes time.
It does.
It does. It does take time. And so same way with my city employees, I'm 2 years into this. And so, some of them are still watching going, man, is he real or is he fake? I don't know. So you just don't know.
That's true. And I also like how you also see the other side of the coin. You were mentioning, certain groups that were flown in to get jobs out in Danville.
Yeah.
And then I saw a post last time that you were explaining a little bit of like, people were coming in. Who are these people coming into town, migrant workers or whatnot? And you kind of took the time to talk about it and share about it. Tell us about that, because, some people might, depending who it is, it might be a tricky, subject, right?
Well, I think it is, and hopefully I hope I don't say anything politically wrong here, because of the climate we have right now. When we get the calls, when someone comes in, when a group comes in on buses and they unload them at a local motel, and they are Hispanic, and they're like, well, they're bringing, they're like, hey, they're dropping off busloads of illegals, and I'm like, no, they work for they work for Superior Forestry. They come here on work visas. They're all legal. These are good people that are working hard for their family. They're spending money in our local economy. And, if someone wanted them not to come, then they can open up a company and they can hire somebody else to do the work. I mean, it's just like anybody else. If you don't want that, then go open up the company and bid the job and hire someone else. But the problem is no one wants to do the jobs that these gentlemen are coming to do, and it's hard work. And so I'm grateful that we have an opportunity, because there's positives, because it's good for our local economy, because they're coming in here spending money in our local economy. It's great for them to have a job. It's great for them to be able to help improve the quality of life for their families back home. And so it's a win-win, and it also helps our local our forestry service. So there's a lot there, but I mean that goes back to misinformation.
Yeah.
If your first thing is, man, you snap a shot of a busload of able-bodied men getting off a bus, saying, well, they're bringing in a bunch of illegals, and you're trying to perpetuate fear, then that's not good. Yeah. Pick up the phone and call and say, hey, listen, Mayor, what's going on? Well, they're coming here and they're going to be planting trees or whatever. They're working with the Forestry Service. Like, oh, okay, that's cool. They're all legal, every one of them. Yeah. You'll see them walking up and down, East Main, and they're going to have bags from TJ Maxx. They're going to have bags from Walmart. They're going to spend money, and we're going to make money as far as sales tax revenue off of them. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's cool. You know, but if you don't ask those questions, then you don't know. And like I say, they're just guys that are trying to help their family. They're doing the best they can with the opportunity that they've been given to do that.
That's great. And what's a message you have for the entire community? You know, and this is like, you know, an opportunity for you. I know you're always out there, you know, doing lives and everything, but you know, especially not just for our community, but everybody as a whole, like a message in 2025 that you can have for all of us here for Russellville.
Man, I am so excited about 2025 for so many reasons. For one, it's my third year, and I feel like I'm maybe trying to finally hit that stride because there's been so much in this last year. Couple things, you know. One of those is, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about, we do have a 1 cent sales tax extension coming up in May. And that's I'm not going to dwell on that a lot, but that's very important to our local parks and recreation, your fire building safety, your police, EMS, your roads, your sidewalks, all of these things that all of us citizens consider quality of life, quality of place. That's huge. But you know, if there was a message, it's kind of hard to narrow it down because there's so many things. I think unity is something I feel like we're so much better than we used to be, but we're so far away. We're so, you know, you look at Dr. Martin Luther King, he had a dream, but man, we're still so far away from that dream, even though we've come a long way. Yeah. You know, we've come a long way from when Dr. Martin Luther King marched, and he had a dream, but there's still a long way to go. And if you don't remember that history, then you're going to repeat it. You may not repeat it with the same group of people, but you're going to repeat it again. And so that's why it's so important to preserve our history and understand where we came from. But I think unity is one of those things, and we have the power as a group of people to, you know, the word says life and death are in the tongue. They really are. And so when you and a lot of times that's on Facebook. It's in your thumbs. Yeah, you know, the new translations will say life or death are in the thumb. I don't know. But the thing is, when you get on social media and you just default to negative, and you're telling, you know, you're sending a false narrative out there, because the narrative is not negative right now. The narrative is great. Yeah. Man, we genuinely live. Hey, granted, United States of America is messed up right now, but God, we still live in a great nation. Mm-hmm. We do. We still live in a great nation. And man, Arkansas, we got our problems, but man, we live in a great state. Russellville, we got some problems, but man, it's a beautiful place. Yeah. And it's a great place with lots of opportunity. So why get caught up in that negative? Why default to like, man, start sharing the negative and that's why I pick up the phone and ask the questions before you just automatically share something on social media. Because that's the most important thing, is we control that narrative, not in a bad way, but the positive has to outweigh the negative. That's why I try so much to be out there. I try to tell a better story, because we have to tell that story, because there's what I call the same 15 people out there. If you'll watch them on social media, they're going to gripe about no matter what. It's going to be the same 15 people. They're griping. They're negative. And I hate that they have to live that way. That's a horrible way to live. But man, there's so much good. Like, man, I saw a picture of you, and I reached out to you, man. God, that's awesome that you got to be with your family and all that. That's cool. That, you know, I was sleeping, but man, I celebrated the fact that you were with your family. That's a positive thing. And so it's cool. So, man, concentrate. It takes the same amount of effort to find the positive as it does the negative. And I guarantee your life's going to be better. And it's, you know, it's the law of sowing and reaping. If you just dwell on negative and you talk about and sow negative, man, your life's going to be negative, man. But man, I choose to look at the positive. I choose to. We're in the innovation hub. My gosh, this place is amazing.
It is.
You look at what it used to be, man. This place used to be full of old appliances. Now it's just it's incredible. So there's so many positive things. So I don't know. Just I ramble on, man. I just ramble, but just our job is to tell a better story because we do live in a great community. Let's concentrate on the positives that we have, because there's not a person, and if you're the person out there that says, hey, listen, we haven't changed in 30 to 40 years, I don't know where you've been living. I really don't, because you can go back and there are so many great things that have happened since I've lived here. And there is not this big bad boogeyman called the city of Russellville or the good old boy system. Everybody talks about the good old boy system. I'm like, man, I'd like to know who they are. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. There's people live off information that, literally, and I can't even remember how long ago it was, man. It was probably 16 years ago at least, or maybe 20 years ago. There was a Red Lobster that was going to come here years ago. And there were some people that stood in the way of it. That's 20 years ago. And somebody that just the other day, literally this week, said, well, the city's probably, the city council, the Red Lobster didn't come because of the city council. And well, that city council was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with these people now. Your council right now is the most pro-growth, proactive, they are ready to see things happen in Russellville. And so you have the best representation that I've seen in forever for pro-business and pro-growth. And I'm not saying that because of me. I'm saying that because the 8 people that sit up there on the city council. So just if you want to take that negative, and if you want to live 20 years ago, then man, I'm sorry about that. But man, I am living in 2025. It's great. We have got, you look down on East Main, you've got Hardee's, Chipotle, Aldi's, Olive Garden, Panda Express, you got, Academy, you got, just so many good things happening. Good stuff. In our parks, got a pickleball court being built. You've got some of the nicest baseball and softball complexes. We just put lights out on the soccer fields. Nice. We're gonna continue to improve the soccer complex. Just a lot of amazing things. Everybody gripes about our roads. Our roads are in really good shape. Now, you can find small areas that are bad, but our roads in Russellville have never been in better shape. Now, downtown is in the middle of the most comprehensive and biggest project the city of Russellville has ever undertaken, a $24 million project. When it's done, it's going to be phenomenal. But it's part of, like, if you're remodeling your house, it's a process. And so, but I'm excited. I'm sorry, I just get excited because man, we live in a great place and it's a fun time.
I'm excited too. I mean, I've been here just over 2 years, and I'm excited to be living it and be part of it. And I believe that's a great message. A lot of us can. I believe some of these things are just habits, and people can change. They say that 21 days you can change a habit. So maybe try to be or grasp onto the positive things. These first 21 days of the year. Just like, okay, I'm not going to focus on these negative posts or just positive. And I think your life will be a lot better.
Oh, I promise it is, man. Days. But there's so much good stuff to share, and there's a lot of things that people don't. I mean, like I say, you're a little bit closer and everybody doesn't get to see all those things. And so you don't get to see all of those, but man, if you just drive through town, you see great, like, the building we're in, it was an old building. Now it's beautiful. The building next door is going to be something nice. There are so many people that are investing their money and their time and resources into your community, and making it better. So,
and those are the people I look up to personally, because I'm like, anyone could just leave, go north or south, but they're staying here, buying buildings or refurbishing them, open like the taco company.
Downtown taco company.
So it's kind of like, I look up to these folks because they believe in the city. If not, they wouldn't.
They're investing their life in it. That's it. So
so that's great. So
likewise, you're doing the same thing though, man. You're just doing it in a different media. So you're talking and they're making tacos, but you're still investing. And so you got to, I think it's to control the narrative. is to tell a better story. And you know, and I hate using that word, but those words, but tell a better story because the story is great, and there's a great story to be told, man. It's just no matter what you look at, man, it's just there's so much good stuff out there.
There is. Well, Mr. May, I don't know if
you call me whatever you want, man. You can call me whatever you want.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to add.
No, man, I've enjoyed. Hopefully, it's been good for everybody that's been watching. I've enjoyed the conversation. I mean, I'd love to come back anytime you want. Did we have any other questions or
any other questions?
A couple more.
If we got a second, we'll stay and answer them real quick. I didn't know.
We have a question from Tevin Ramirez. He says, "What is one thing you will tell small business owners that want to grow in the River Valley?"
Man, I tell you what, as a small business owner myself, I think service is number one. And that's one thing I love about River Valley is because you look at Feltner's. They're one of my favorite local companies. They're a small business, but, man, they really serve you well. Yeah. You know, technically Old South is a small business. Everybody looks, man, that's a huge business, but it's a small business. But, man, you go in there in the service. You know, I think if you have a good product, if you're honest and you give a good service, I think you're going to succeed. Not just because of that's my advice, but those are principles that will not fail you. We own a small business, still an appliance repair company, and you know we give an honest service, and at an honest price. And we try to take care of our customers, and we literally had to close our phones down for like 3 weeks because we were so busy and we just couldn't take any more calls. And so if you do those things, I think just give a good service, be honest, and show up on time, man. Show up on time, and do those things. I think we are in a climate for small businesses to thrive. There's so much here, and people are looking for so many different avenues, whether it's a serviceman, a craftsman, or whatever, to do things. I think to me that's it. It's just I've always just focused on that honesty, punctuality, and giving the best product I possibly can. So
that's a great answer.
And there you go. One more
question.
Yeah.
Here. Who do you believe we should bring on to the podcast next?
Oh gosh. I don't know who's been on the podcast. Man, there's so many cool people in Russellville right now. Christy Graham is a great one. I don't know if you've ever had Christy Graham.
She has. Not with me, maybe with Tal.
Tourism visitors. She's really amazing. Judge Ben Cross is awesome. Dr. Megan Selman is great. Also, Dr. Russell Jones, the president of Arkansas Tech University. That dude's really cool. He's got some cool stories. Another guy that you might, because you do have a Hispanic audience, Dr. Adolfo Santos, who is the new provost at Arkansas Tech.
He's actually going to be here soon.
Yeah, so good. So, I mean, there really are some really good people. Has Jonathan been on here?
Yeah, actually, they were one of the first.
Yeah, Jonathan, as a small business owner, I think that's a great, get some of the small business owners. But, I think there's so many great stories in Russellville. There really honestly are. Will Wetzel's another great guy that's investing in downtown. Will Wetzel's just, investing in downtown. That, like I say, there's some really cool people. So those are some good questions.
No, I'm sure. Well, we have a lot of time this year. A lot of slots,
cool, man. And I'll be happy to come back anytime you want me, man. I loved it. It was a blast. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Thank you. And where can they reach the office? The mayor, and just if they need
on Facebook, we have Mayor Fred Teague. That's my Facebook page, and if you type it in Spanish, I'll find somebody to translate it. We'll actually Google Translate. We'll do it. And hopefully, it'll do it right. Or you can call our office at 479-968-2098. That's 479-968-2098. And no matter who calls, if you say, hey, man, I need an appointment with the mayor, they will get you an appointment. Anybody can call and get them an appointment. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others. Sometimes you get in there in a day or two. It just depends on my schedule. But I would definitely, and also I really want to say is like, man, if you've got a group of people, man, I don't care if you got 30 or 40 people coming over to your house for a family event. Because, I mean, there are people that sometimes you show up at somebody's house, you got 30, 40 people, and hey, we want you to come over and visit with us, man. I would definitely love to come visit, and I just want to be there to be able to visit and talk and share with you and let I want the right information to be out there. So before you share anything or before you say anything, man, reach out and get the accurate information.
There you go.
So,
Well, thank you, Mayor, for coming in today. It's a pleasure having you here. And if you guys are watching, you guys have any questions for the mayor or have some concerns, feel free to call the office, and I'm sure you'll get some answers. And all you guys that were watching us today, I'm going to say this in español. El alcalde el día de hoy estuvo con nosotros para tener una charla, y si ustedes necesitan preguntarle cosas o quieren saber de ideas, siéntanse libre de hablar a la oficina del alcalde en City Hall. Y bueno, gracias por sintonizar el día de hoy. Nos vemos y feliz año nuevo 2025, que este año va a ser mejor que el anterior. Se me cuidan y a muchos abrazos.